Right, welcome to the introduction to your thematic anthology project. This is the final big project that you'll have this semester. I know I said I'd have this up by the end of last week, and I apologize for not getting that done. I've been revamping all of the assignments for all of my classes for the rest of the semester, and so that's taken a little bit of time, longer than I actually anticipated it would. So anyway, your thematic anthology project, for this project, you're going to imagine that you are creating your own African American literature course. You get to choose the works for this course and create your own anthology for it. Now, our class has been a broad survey of African American literature since 1940 through the ideally through the present, although our anthology I think stops 10 years ago. So it needs some updating. But in any case, you are going to do a thematic anthology. So you're going to choose a theme that you would center your course around and create your imaginary anthology around that theme. So to give you an idea of what I mean, I'm sharing the essay that I wrote when I took the women's literature class 2 falls ago. I took it for fun because why not? And so I wrote my anthology. For ours, we were writing what would be the introduction to an anthology. So it would be the beginning where the editors are explaining what works are in the anthology and why they were chosen to be in the anthology. For mine, I chose the theme of growing up other, a journey to belonging. And I have several works that, while they're not necessarily about that theme, they do touch on that theme. They illustrate it in certain ways. So I chose a variety of works. We were supposed to have a couple. I'm looking at these to see what I chose. I think we had to have at least one from class, which mine would have been Tomboy. Yeah, and then the rest of them are all things. Oh, no, we had to have 2, sorry. So we had Tomboy and Americanized were 2 that we read in class. And then the rest of them are ones that I encountered. Either I had already read them or read parts of them, or I was kind of looking at other books recommended by my classmates for some presentations we had to do, just different ways that I found these different books. And one thing to note is that while I had read Tomboy and Americanized, it had been a couple years since I had read The Girl Who Fell to Earth, and I didn't have an actual copy of it. So I was just going by memory in a lot of it, and then I did get a copy that I had ordered came in before the project was to be submitted. So I was able to do some more specific referencing to that. A Cup of Water Under My Bed was a new book to me. And so when I was writing my essay, I had skimmed it. I had read certain parts of it, but I had not read the whole thing from cover to cover. I have now, but I hadn't at the time. So what I'm saying is that when you choose your works, you don't have to have read or be intimately familiar with every detail of the work. In fact, I don't think I ever really fully read Call Me Maria. I just read excerpts from it. So when you are working on your anthology, choose things you have some familiarity with or that you can skim or get to know pretty easily without spending a great amount of time on them. I'm not requiring you to include specifically anything from our own study, but if you would like to, you can include works that we've already used in class. You can include works from some of the authors that are in the anthology that we did not read. You can decide, hey, my theme is going to be all of the things that I thought should be in our anthology that were not there. For example, I personally am frustrated that there was no Maya Angelou in our anthology. I think that's a very obvious oversight, but maybe she's too positive for this anthology? I don't know. It seems like we've read a lot of really depressing stuff. So in any case, you get to decide whatever theme you're interested in. You are not going to write an essay though. So if you look at mine, you'll see my essay was 11 pages, including the works cited page. We were supposed to write 6 pages, and I negotiated for, I think I negotiated for 9 and still wrote more than that, but it was okay. Anyway, you're not writing an essay. You are going to prepare a slide presentation instead, just to make it easier on you to not have to write so much and not have to worry about drafting and revising and all of the things that would come into a lengthier essay project. So you can use Google Slides or PowerPoint. If you have Keynote, you can use Keynote, but you would have to export as a PDF, or I think you can export as a PowerPoint. And that's just because Blackboard doesn't like to handle Keynote files. I have Keynote on my personal laptop, but even if you submit Keynote, it most likely will not open. So using slides and PowerPoint, I know you can submit those on Blackboard without difficulty. Others programs that you want to use, check with me first. We need to make sure that first they can be submitted on Blackboard, and second that I would actually be able to open and view them. All right, so here's the rundown of what you're going to do. You're going to choose a theme of interest to you in African American literature. It can be a theme that we've already discussed this semester, so something you've already written about, done your other projects on if you would like to, or you can branch out. You can do something related but different, like I did with my essay. We touched a little bit on the idea of otherness in class, but that wasn't a specific theme that we really talked about, so I decided to bring that out in my essay. For one reason, I could relate to that theme on a personal level, whereas some of the other themes I couldn't, and so it would be harder for me to really dig in and write about that theme. So choose something that would be good for you. Some of you may say, hey, growing up Black might be a good theme. You know, you have experiences, you have questions, you have already, you know, some literature that you would include. So go ahead and choose a theme that works for you, though, something you are interested in. You want to find 7 to 10 works by African Americans dealing in some way with your chosen theme. So 7 is the minimum. As long as you have 7, you're fine. If you want to include a couple more than that, that's okay as well. You are going to think of literature in really broad terms. So we've studied poetry and novels and plays and essays. You can think about articles in different newspapers or magazines. You can think about, for our purposes, for this project, you can think about music. You know, the lyrics of music and the way that it's put together rhythmically and instrumentally and all of that stuff. You can think about movies, television shows. Those are things that are not typically classified as literature, but they can bring another level of complexity to our study and our understanding of particular themes. I would say you should have at least 2 written works. If you're going to include music and movies and television, you should also include at least 2 written works, whether it's poetry, novels, plays, or essays, or articles, or whatever. You should still have at least 2 written works. And I'll amend the document to show that. You can include children's literature. So we've read all adult literature in this class, but there's lots of children's and young adult literature that could be included as well. You want to think about the ways that each of the works speaks to your chosen theme. So you can do that however you want. You can do some webbing or mapping or charting or listing or audio recording, anything you want to do to kind of lay out your different works and find the connections and how each one represents the themes. And then you want to decide from there what order you want to present your works in. So how would they appear in your imagined anthology? Would they appear chronologically? Would they appear chronologically, by genre, by the ways they present the theme, which was my method? Would you put them alphabetically? Is there another way that you can think of that you would want to show them in your anthology? Maybe you would have little sub themes, and within there you would have 2 works or 3 works for each of your sub themes. However you want to do that. Once you've decided on your works and your order, and you know how they represent the themes, and you know enough about each one that you can summarize the work, you want to prepare your presentation. So your presentation, you need to have an introduction slide. You may have more than one slide for that. Say you want to be really creative and create a cover for your anthology, you can do that. But you want to have a title for your anthology and a statement of the theme. So you want to have that at least as your introduction. Then the body of the work, you want to have a minimum of 2 slides per work. One slide should have the title, the authors, the genre, and an image, if you can get one for it, would be perfect. It's like a book cover or a movie cover, album cover, whatever, or an image of an author. Yeah, so any image that you can include would be great. The next slide, or you can have more than one slide if you have enough to say. Maybe you want to do a brief summary of the work on one slide and how it illustrates the theme on the next slide and have 3 slides. Or maybe you would have both the summary and the theme explanation on the same slide, as long as it doesn't get too crowded and busy on that slide. So however you want to organize that, but a minimum of 2 slides per work. And then your conclusion should be a final statement about the theme, like just your wrap-up statement about the theme. And then you also want to include 1 to 3 big questions you would want your imaginary class to explore as they study the works you have chosen. Okay. And the final thing for your presentation is your works cited slides, and they need to be in MLA format. Give complete citations there, okay? Use NightCite or EasyBib or BibMe or whatever others are out there to help create your citations if you're stuck on that, because you'll be working with different genres than what we've been doing for our annotated bibliographies. So that might be, you might find some that are a little tricky. And the last thing I want to say is that if you can record your presentation, so if you can record it as if you are telling us, like not just reading the slides, but telling us about your works and why you chose them, and that would be fantastic. But I'm not going to require you to do that. I know that's another level of complexity to the project, and we're all kind of strapped out right now. And as we get closer to the end of the semester, I know people are going to just be really busy and really stressed, even more so than you are right now. So don't overstress it. If you can't record it, that's okay. Just make sure that your slides are clear. You know, that you've got enough information that when I read it, I can say, oh yeah, I understand why you included that work. And that's it. So if you do record it, you'll get some bonus points. If you don't, you're not going to lose any points for not recording it. I'm going to grade the presentation on the slides themselves. And then if you've recorded it, I will give you bonus points on top of that. So whatever you do with this presentation, make it your own. Okay, be creative. Have fun with it. Don't let it be some serious, burdening project. Make it yours and make it reflect your own interests, your experiences, and your personality. If you have any questions or concerns, of course, you should contact me. You can email me. You can post a question on the discussion board, the virtual office discussion board. And I also included some links in the rest of the agendas, starting with week 12, to Zoom meetings that I have scheduled with my English 101 students on Monday and Wednesday. You're welcome to drop into those. I usually only have 1 or 2 students showing up. And so you're welcome to come crash our party. We don't mind. All right, so I hope that you can make this a fun and interesting project. And of course, let me know if you